Purpose of sampling. A sample is drawn because one wants to know whether the material from which the sample is drawn meets the requirement such as purchase or sales specification. For this purpose, the sample must accurately represent the whole quantity under consideration. Frequently, more than one sample is needed and analysis must be performed on each of the sample that are drawn. Sometimes it is possible to combine two or more samples for analysis, but it is always necessary in such cases that the sample be combined in the proper proportion and in such a way that it is consistent with the known or expected properties of the material. Okay. The second purpose of sampling is detecting contamination. The second purpose of sampling is to assure that the material under consideration is free from contaminant. For this important purpose, it is usually preferable to sample in such a way that it gives maximum assurance of finding the contamination if it is present in any part of the bulk material. Sample of this kind, therefore, need not accurately represent the entire quantity. For example, when foreign matter is suspected, one sample is taken from the bottom of the container. Similarly, when an easily oxidizable material is thought to have been exposed to air, one draws sample from the surface. In both the cases, the probability of detecting contamination is deliberately increases at the expense to obtaining truly representative samples. It is desirable, however, to take representative sample first and then to take the sample as needed to assure absence of contamination. Identifying material. Third purpose of sampling, identifying material. A third purpose of sampling is to identify an unknown material. A carefully drawn sample can adequately serve to establish the identity of the bulk material under the consideration. Significance and importance of sampling. The term sampling implies procuring the sample, preparing it in a form that will be suitable for the analysis, and representation of the sample. It is the sample which is analyzed. The result obtained for the sample are used for the bulk material. This will be possible if and only if the sample represents the bulk in totality. The representation between the two, that is the sample and the bulk material, should be 100%. All the properties of the bulk material should be manifested in the sample. That is why the process by means of which a sample can be procured become important. If the sample is homogeneous, less problem may be encountered. Obviously, for the heterogeneous sample, the problem is obtaining a representative sample may be too many. Hence, the need to obtain the sample in a proper and scientific manner. If the sampling process is not scientific, and confidence that the sample represents the bulk will automatically get reduced. Then next point, difficulty encountered in sampling. First, lack of prior information. Prior information about the bulk material with respect to its composition, homogeneity and characteristic will help a lot in planning and sampling techniques to provide a truly representative sample. Enough information is not available in many cases. This is particularly true for a new material and bulk commodities. In such cases, examination of the previous data may often supply proximate but adequate information in many cases. Special statistical studies may be required. Physical nature. In many cases, physical nature, condition, and or location of the material at the time of sampling may not permit random selection of units as required. In some cases, it may not be feasible economically. For example, in a pile of coal, the interior portion of the pile is not easily accessible. Hence, the units do not possess an equal chance of being included. One solution to such a problem is to sample the material when in motion. Planning for sampling at a proper time or place is often overlooked. Third difficulties is excessive cost. Sampling process definitely involve time, labor and money. From all the angles, if the number of units become too large, the sampling cost will go up. Then next topic, sampling of solid. Sampling of solid. Although gases and liquid can present difficulties in sampling, the greatest problem of adequate sampling mainly arise for solid. In solid, difficulties due to heterogeneity of the bulk material are very frequent. Even material which apparently appear homogeneous turn out to be heterogeneous due to localized concentration of impurities. The procedure adopted for obtaining a representative sample greatly depends upon the nature of the solid. If a proper sample is not obtained for by not employing the right procedure, the labor and time spent in making a careful analysis of a sample may be completely wasted. If the material is more or less homogeneous, sampling is comparatively simple. If, however, the sample material is bulky, the heterogeneous sampling must be carried out with great care, and method will vary somewhat with the type of solid. Sample size. In solid such as ore, the material consists of lumps of difficult different size. Certain lumps may be rich in the element of interest and certain other may be rich in impurities such as a silicate. Lumps of pure solid and lumps of impurities of different size may lead to error in the sampling. Such error can be reduced by crushing the large lumps to a smaller size or by taking a large quantity of the material in this context. The concept of bulk ratio is important. The bulk ratio is defined as weight of the sample divided by total weight of the bulk material. Another parameter introduced in the case of heterogeneity material is the size to weight ratio. This is applicable to determine the number and size of increment to be drawn to form the gross sample. Size to weight ratio is equal to weight of the largest particle divided by weight of the sample. This can also be expressed in terms of percentage. For the sample to be true representative of a bulk material, bulk ratio of the sample should be as large as possible and the size to weight ratio as small as possible. The sampling error is inversely proportional to the square root of the number of sample averaged with complete information about the particle size. The number of replicate analysis required